Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand Ross with The Rock Never Stops. The Houston Rockets are in a state of flux right now. Fred VanVleet has gone down. His injury is likely to keep him out for a considerable amount of time. And as I have been kind of already leaning towards, is that Thompson is the future of the Houston Rockets at the point guard position. And last night he got the start over Aaron Holiday, as he should have, against the Indiana Pacers. And I want to kind of dive into that in this video from some of the things that I saw and some things that I'm hoping head coach Ime Udoka leans into. But if you enjoy the video, smash the like button for me. Hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Appreciate all the love and support. I really do. If you haven't noticed by now, I'm a big Thompson twins fan. These two individuals are about as talented, skilled, hardworking, athletically gifted, high IQ, high motor players as they come. Thompson is supposed to be the more athletic of the two, but I'm going to be honest, I can't really tell the difference. I mean, how do you disseminate between an athlete who's at a 9.9 and an athlete who's at a 9.7, right? It's kind of one of those things where you just say, hey, they both can jump out the gym. They both have more than enough athleticism to be amongst the elite of the athletes in the NBA, which means you are of the elite of the elite of the athletes in the world. With that said, I want to start with Thompson. What he does on the defensive end is one of a kind. Similar to his brother Asar, their ability to maximize their athleticism on that end of the court and pressure the ball handler is really special, because to be able to do so takes a set of physical tools that really only a few players have, right? These are the Drew Holidays, maybe the Derek Whites. These are individuals who have the size to get out and contest on the perimeter while chasing over the top, still applying pressure from behind. That doesn't allow point guards to get into that sweet spot, even when they try to put them in jail on that pick and roll. And in jail means when they come around that pick, when they come around that screen, and they slow down to break the defender's momentum, and then they try to accelerate into a gap either for a floater or a lob or a pull-up jump shot. Now, this works against most point guard defenders because most are somewhere between 6'2", 6'3". But the Thompson twins are 6'7". Thompson is a solid 6'7". His wingspan has got to be close to 7 feet. But it's their lateral mobility, quickness, timing, and their physical strength, which I need to say, there's very few players who come into the NBA with what we call man strength. The physical strength of NBA veterans who are at their prime, meaning 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. The strength that you get at that point in your life as an adult is completely different than the strength that you have when you're 18, 19, 20, 21. And yet some individuals come into the NBA with this strength. This is the Jonathan Kumingas, Scoot Hendersons. They have a physical body, chiseled frame. Thompson, somewhere around 220, 225 pounds at 6'7". This kid, he's what you call positionally elite. His size is positionally elite. A 6'7" point guard, we haven't seen that since Penny Hardaway, right? I mean, you might say LaMelo Ball, but LaMelo Ball is slight. He's light in the pants. He's a lightweight, featherweight. He's not physically imposing to anybody, even with his reach. And even then, he doesn't have nearly the defensive intensity or the motor on the defensive end to even attempt to stay with guys the way that he could or should. And that's for another video. And yet, when you watch this game, Thompson was able to bother Tyrese Halliburton and take him out of his game, making him uncomfortable. Now, coming back from an injury is never easy, especially a hamstring injury. It takes a while to be able to trust your leg to push off and have that burst and even that balance on your shot. And you can see it has been hampering Tyrese Haliburton. He has not been anywhere near his top of the, level of his style of play. What are the words I'm looking for? He hasn't been performing at his best since he's been back. And yet Thompson did an amazing job of making sure that this wasn't the game that he got his rhythm back. And yet it was telling that as soon as he was subbed out towards the middle to the end of the third quarter and Aaron Holiday came in, that's when he found his groove. There was a specific play. They were going back and forth, and the Rockets, for some reason, and this is kind of going to be another point I want to make later, but they started to go away from Thompson at the point and let Jaylen Green and Dillon Brooks and even a little bit of Jabari Smith Jr. try to play some point guard, which was just ugly. It was just ugly. And I'm going to get to that later. But it's to say that because they were sticking Thompson in a corner, it really mitigated a lot of his benefit towards the offense. And so they brought in Aaron Holiday. And with Aaron Holiday in, there was a specific play where they were in transition. The ball's getting swung around. And Jaylen Green is lined up with Tyrese Haliburton. The ball gets swung to Haliburton. And instead of Jaylen Green sprinting out to challenge his shot, he simply doesn't. He looks at him and just turns away. I guess expecting Aaron Holiday to run from the opposite side of the court to try to contest his shot. But Haliburton gets the wide open three, nothing but net, and he gets going. In this run, in that third quarter, the Rockets would relinquish a 10-point lead. And if I'm honest with you guys, I usually rewatch games before I do a video on them. But I got to this point and I had to just stop. Because this is going into the second point, is that Ime Udoka is going to have to lean into everything that Thompson is if he hopes to keep the Houston Rockets buoyed throughout this season. Meaning that he needs to start drawing up plays to allow Thompson to attack the basket and to attack his defender and begin to get his offensive game going. There were countless times that I saw that Thompson was content to be TJ McConnell on offense and simply set up the offense, which I would have to say he did masterfully. Every time he had the ball, they got into their offense. 100% of the time. When he had the ball, they got into offense. Unless it was a transition opportunity, he got them into their sets and they were running offense. And what I told you guys, if you look back at my videos, what I told you guys during Summer League in that one game, I said, Thompson is unlocking Jabari Smith Jr. And I said that because, and I explained that shooters operate best with a pass-first point guard, a guy who has the patience and the foresight to let the play develop so that the shooter can either get off the screen, the pin down, come from away from the ball towards the ball, and be able to get the ball in rhythm in a catch and shoot opportunity that forces hard closeouts or allows them an open look. Pass first point guards deliver the ball on time. They anticipate the play. They see the shooter in advance. They know what he's thinking and where he wants it. And they set up the court. They come down the court, up the middle, and then they'll choose a side, usually the offside or the weaker side from where the shooter is, to give him maximal space to come off a screen and catch and shoot, or to be able to catch, pump fake, and put the ball on the floor. And as a result, Jabari Smith started looking like the shooter that we saw in Auburn. But with Fred VanVleet, we haven't really seen that as much because Fred is kind of the ilk of a Jalen Brunson. He's got the short man complex. He's here to prove that my size does not determine my talent and my productivity in the NBA and who I can be. He's already proven he could be an all-star. And he's seeking to not relinquish that claim that he is an all-star level player. And as a result, he tends to be a bit shot happy, shoot first, even though he's a great shooter. He just has to get a little bit more efficient. But that's not necessarily what this video is about. This video is about how Amen Thompson is able to run this offense to perfection. He gets guys involved. If you saw this game, everybody had it going. Alperen Sengun got the ball in the post in his sweet spots. Didn't have to wait for pick and rolls. Jaylen Green got going. Jabari Smith Jr. got going. Dillon Brooks got going. But then you saw in that third quarter, all of a sudden, Amen Thompson drive to the basket. He gets fouled, hacked, obviously, but gets the rookie treatment. And then he comes down and he begins to step back and defer to his teammates to run the point. Jaylen Green turns back into the black hole, forcing bad shots, not passing the ball and getting his teammates involved, and then it becomes contagious. And then Dillon Brooks is doing it. Then Jabari Smith Jr. is doing it. And it becomes iso ball. Alperen Sengun gets forgotten about. And Indiana comes roaring back. And this is the point that head coach Ime Udoka is going to have to figure out. How to keep Amen Thompson not just engaged, but he's going to have to send the message to the team. He's running the show. Ain't none of y'all point guards. Ain't none of y'all pass-first individuals. Alperen Sengun, you're not best off running the point. You're not Nikola Jokic, and we don't need you to be. What we need is for this offense to run functionally. And what they need to do is keep the ball in Amen Thompson's hands. And they need to make sure that he's able to put pressure on point guards so that they can't be hidden on him on the defensive end. Tyrese Halliburton should have been getting the dog walk treatment. They should have had countless plays and opportunities for him to attack Tyrese Halliburton off the dribble, getting downhill and getting to the rim and looking to finish through him, get to the free throw line. Tyrese Halliburton should have been made to work nonstop in this game. And he wasn't. Because Amen Thompson was deferring. He was content just setting up the team and then standing in the corner. Now, I do like how he tried to move off the ball and cut, and he tried to help guys out when they got stuck. But I think that there's far more that he can contribute on the offensive end. And this is where Ime Udoka has to get more creative. On top of that, when you look at Amen Thompson and how he plays, he speeds up the pace of this game. He allows them to get into transition and easy scoring opportunities. And it's likely the flow that they need to be playing at, especially when they get Tari Eason back. This needs to become a fast break team. They need to become the Toronto Raptors. They need to become that team that's flying up and down the court to get easy baskets and not trying to set up in the half court. Because if they do that, especially against the better teams, they're always going to be behind the eight ball. They'll get exposed for their lack of shooting. And when you have a defender like Jaylen Green, well, you need a large, athletic perimeter defender who's able to offset his inabilities to be able to get them out in transition, causing turnovers, deflections, steals, blocks, rebounds, and get easy baskets, because those easy baskets get him going. As we saw that lob did, that I always forget his name, that my man threw to him and threw it way up high. And when I say way up high, I mean, boy, that was one of them tosses you even shocked that he got it. And you looking at yourself like, damn, bro, you got that? And he got it. And he got himself going. His confidence came back. He found his bounce. He was in his rhythm. But even at that point, he's not a point guard. Just because he could dribble doesn't mean that he can facilitate. Just because he can pass doesn't mean that he should be a primary playmaker. And this is what head coach Ime Udoka has to lean into. Because Jaylen Green has had the misgivings of being set up by the Houston Rockets organization that moved away from John Wall, let Kevin Porter Jr. run point for a couple years, and it taught him all the wrong habits. And similar to Jordan Poole, Jaylen Green is going to have to learn that sometimes doing less is more. Keeping it simple many times is better for the team and helps the team win. There's a time to turn it on. There's a time to go into your bag. And I think he has the ability and showing signs of being aware of when it's time to get a bucket to stop the run of the other team. Because you're probably the best shot creator on the team next to Alper and Şengün. But that doesn't need to be 3, 4, 5 plays in a row. And what you can't do is ignore your best player on the team, which is Şengün, so you can bring the ball down, dribble the ball 35 times, dribble through the paint, ISO multiple times, and try to chuck up a shot. That's what you can't do. But unfortunately, that's still who Jaylen Green is, pointing to the need of a floor general to be present when Jaylen Green is on the court. So once again, my expectation is that head coach Ime Udoka makes the adjustment. He's got to lean into Amen Thompson. He's the number 4 pick for a reason. He's a freak of an athlete. And if we're honest, if Amen Thompson was in any other draft outside of Victor Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson, and maybe a Brandon Miller, he probably would have been the number 1 pick. Shoot, if you throw him in that draft with Jaylen Green, he likely goes top 4, top 3. People would be hard-pressed to distinguish who's a better prospect, Jaylen Green or Amen Thompson. But as always, I want to know what you all think about this subject. What did you think about Amen Thompson's, not debut, but his repositioning back into the starting lineup? What do you think about the future of the Houston Rockets moving forward? Holler at me in the comment section. You know we're going to chop it up there. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm out. Peace.